People across South Florida preparing tonight for the possibility of being slammed by Hurricane Irma. Right now, the giant Category 5 storm turning westward through the Caribbean, and it could turn toward Florida over the weekend. I want to bring in now Mayor Philip Levine of Miami Beach and also Mayor Barbara Sharif of Broward County. Mayors, good evening to both of you. Mayor Sharif, let me start with you. An evacuation goes into effect for Miami-Dade County tomorrow. Why haven't you decided to evacuate Broward County?
At this time, Miami-Dade County is standing a greater chance of having more of the effects of the storm than Broward. And so right now, with the trajectory and the path that it's on, we haven't issued an evacuation as of yet, but that may come based on information that we receive through the evening tonight and through tomorrow morning.
Mayor Levine, you've urged residents to evacuate ahead of this storm. Tell us about that process.
Don, we think it's an incredibly serious storm, and as your folks have already said, this is a monster, and we're not taking any chances. At this point right now, the county has not actually issued an evacuation order. Tomorrow, the only evacuation order that's out there is for folks with special needs. What I have done is I had a press conference this afternoon, and I said, I am recommending to the residents and tourists of Miami Beach to leave the city. If you have a plan, get on that plan now and start moving towards out of the city. You can wait, obviously, a day, but we're recommending because, as you know, Don, Miami Beach is connected. It's a barrier island by only a few causeways. They could get clogged up. I want to give people the opportunity to get out of Miami Beach with as advance notice as possible, and that's what we're recommending myself personally at this time.
Mayor Sharif, how are these preparations coming? What more needs to happen in Broward County before Irma arrives?
So the first thing that we're advising people is that they need to get their supplies and be prepared for 3 to 5 days and stay off the road after the storm comes. We will experience some flooding in some areas. There could be power outages and down power lines. We want to make sure that they're safe and they're sheltered in place and that only essential personnel are on the streets after the storm hits. The second thing is that, as Mayor Levine said, we are trying to make preparations to move those with medical needs to the shelters where they belong and also get the children with medically complex needs to the hospitals where they belong. Our last shelters, we have 43 available. We have pet-friendly shelters, and we're telling people that if they really need to shelter, we have accommodations up to 33,000 at this point, and we can have more as needed. But we're hoping that with the messages that we're sending today, that people are going to shelter with family and friends because that's probably the best and most comfortable place to be during a storm.
Mayor Levine, as we saw with Harvey, I mean, that's just the most recent example. We saw, the elderly people our senior population, they were affected by it greatly. You mentioned disabled people, mandatory evacuation. But what's specifically the plan in place for the senior population in Miami Beach? Is it safe?
Well, what we've already begun doing is outreaching to our seniors to make sure we understand, they understand the opportunities to have them removed from the island. When the the mandatory evacuation goes into effect, we have buses to pick them up. We'll be bringing them to shelters if they don't have a place to stay with families or friends. But we've gone out, we've identified the various segments of our population. Matter of fact, our team's been on the ground working with homeless people on Miami Beach to make sure they have the opportunity to get out of the city. But there's many things, Don, we're doing. We're bringing in portable pumps, portable generators. I mean, stopping all construction projects on the city to make sure there's no debris out there. It's an education program. It's communicating with our residents and our visitors. But once again, we take it seriously. It's not just the winds, Don. It's the storm surge that can come. You saw it in Houston. Miami Beach will experience, God forbid, with a big hit, major storm surge.
Mayor Levine, Mayor Sharif, thank you both. I appreciate it. Good luck to you. I'm sure we'll be seeing you here on CNN in the coming days.